All right, speaking of 15th anniversary, can you share about the legacy of the foundation?
Gary and all of us really want this to be around for a very long time.
I think of the picture in our office in the hallway when you first walk in, and it's from 9/11. I don't know who took the picture, Gary. It's a grainy, I don't know, maybe off a camera or something. It's not a photographer, but it's at a memorial after 9/11 with him standing up, holding a flag. And the simple thing he did, the first thing is, I'm just gonna stand up.
He is the most engaged founder I've ever seen in my life, and I've known a lot of big companies.
Have you met him?
Yeah, have we met him?
I'm like,
yeah.
My dad says, I don't understand what you do. What do? You go to lunch with somebody, they write you a check. I'm like, no.
So when we have an incredible Lieutenant Dan van that this one right here helped create 7 different versions later. I get to drive the best vehicle in town because I get all the good hand gestures on the freeway. Well, as a
that's
part
hilarious.
of that,
Hello and welcome to GSF Podcast, sponsored by the Gary Sinise Foundation's Education and Outreach Initiative, aiming to educate the public on the importance of serving America's veterans, first responders, and their families.
Welcome to the Gary Sinise Foundation Podcast. I'm your host, Cristin Snyder, and today we go behind the scenes, as it were, to give you a bit of an insider's look at how the Gary Sinise Foundation serves our nation's defenders, reaching communities in all 50 states and around the world. If you're watching the video version of this episode, you will notice we're sitting in a different setting today. We're coming to you from the Gary Sinise Foundation Education and Outreach Center, a place where we teach and inspire leadership, service, and volunteerism for both youth and adults. There is no question that Gary is the heart and soul of our mission to serve our nation's defenders, veterans, first responders, and their families. And as Gary is always quick to point out, fulfilling the mission takes a dedicated team of people working tirelessly alongside him, committed to carrying out this work with integrity, dignity, and honor. So today, we're sitting down with some of the people who help lead that charge here at the Gary Sinise Foundation. And yes, we will talk about the mission, but more importantly, we will share how we all have personally been impacted by those we serve. So we have our Executive Director, Donna Mercier, Jim Ravella, our Executive Vice President of Programs. Also working on the programs team is our Vice President, Gib Bosworth. Sarah Hollis is our Vice President of Philanthropy, and Barbara Titus, our Senior Vice President of Finance. All right, Donna, we'll start with you.
Great. And I want to make sure that our listeners know that you are the Vice President of Marketing and Communications, always making sure our message is clear, concise, and that we effectively communicate our impact
Thank you.
to everyone who supports us. So thank you for all that you do, Cristin.
Thank you.
So I am so honored to be here today and to be with this mission. It is truly the highlight of my career to get to be here and work for Gary, work with all of you. Oh my goodness. It's sometimes I have to pinch myself. I can't believe that I get paid to do this job. It doesn't even feel like a job. This is a mission for me as well.
Yep.
And it's a mission for me for a lot of reasons. But I want to say before I get into that, I admired Gary from afar for a long time. I've been in the nonprofit sector for over 30 years. Hate to date myself. But I know that the nonprofit sector is super important to what makes America, America. I mean, this is a sector that serves and uplifts communities and people around the country. And being in the nonprofit world, it was really fascinating to me when Gary took his fame and his platform, and instead of doing what a lot of celebrities do, Gary decided, he saw a need and he decided to do something about that. And his journey from self to service has been so inspiring to me. And I tease him all the time. I'm always saying, you could be floating around a pool, eating bonbons. But no, you decided.
The visual is very good.
I know, right? But he decided to do something to serve others. And oh my gosh, could you imagine if this world had thousands of people like Gary Sinise? So when the opportunity came up to get to work for Gary, I was just like, okay, sign me up. And not to mention the fact that my father was a volunteer law enforcement. He worked with the Sheriff's Department later in his career. And I saw personally what a small town sheriff volunteer could do and how important that was to the community. There was just simply not enough manpower to go around. So him being able to do that and the service that was required of him. And then my stepdad was in the U.S. Army Reserves, and he often talked about his service and how important that was to him. So that inspired me as well. And, I too have a journey from self to service. My journey was not as long as Gary's. I am a recovering attorney, I tell people all the time. I went to law school and practiced for a few years, and then saw the light and had an opportunity to work in the nonprofit sector and decided to switch careers and have never looked back. I love everything about taking all that I've been blessed to learn and serving our country and our communities with that. And so getting to work here was just amazing. And when I came to work at the foundation, I never knew how deeply it would resonate with me. I came in thinking I understood what our families of fallen went through, thinking I understood what that grief must be like and what that journey is like, until it happened to me. As all of you know, my husband passed away suddenly. And in that moment, I had absolutely no runway, no idea that was coming. And literally within a second, my whole life was burned to the ground. And I had to find a way to pick myself up and move through that. And I am so grateful that I didn't have to do that alone. I had this Gary Sinise family, Gary, all of you, our board of directors, everyone, our supporters came around me, and I literally was helping build the foundation and my life back at the same time. And what I learned from that experience and the growth that happened to me. I mean, everyone grieves differently. That journey looks different for everyone. And as I talk to our families who are going through that, I can see that in them too. Everyone's got their own journey. But my journey, it taught me the gift of the grief, if you want to call it a gift. It's a gift that nobody wants to get.
Right.
But if you have that and you take that gift, and what I learned was who I really am, the strength that I never knew I had, the love of the community around me that I would have never seen had I not gone through that. And just the ability to put everything in life in perspective. And Robert was just a guru in philanthropy. So I get to honor his memory every day in the work I do here, and the love that I give, and the way that we have joy and laughter. He's in all of that. He's in everything. And again, picking my life up from the ashes and moving forward helps me be able to talk to the families and understand them in a way I never thought I would. So when I started here, I never knew that I would be able to really understand that.
Right.
My experience is different than theirs. I'm not saying that that it's the same, not at all. But grief is grief, and sudden loss is sudden loss. And moving through that and figuring out what your life looks like when it's completely different. And I can't imagine doing that without the Gary Sinise Foundation family. So I'm so grateful for that, and I never knew. And then on the joyful side, I got remarried. Mm-hmm. And of course, I married a military man. I know, right? So my husband is retired Canadian Air Force. Mm-hmm. He was in the Air Force for over 28 years and then worked for a company that supported the Air Force. And so he's retired now, but he's a former pilot, like somebody else we know. Mm-hmm. And you get him talking about airplanes and that's it. It's over. So my story is one of complete a phoenix rising from the ashes, if you will. Mm-hmm. But that's what our families do. Mm-hmm. That's what these men and women who sacrifice so much for our country, that's what they do. And they are so incredibly inspiring. And so when I came to work here, I never knew that I would be able to have such a deeply personal connection. Mm-hmm. And I am grateful because it allows me to have such an understanding and compassion that I would have never had before. So that is the gift of that.
Love it. Speaking of the personal connection, for those who don't know who are listening, Jim is a retired F-15 fighter pilot. So cool factor points way up.
Yes.
Yep. They made movies about you. So, beyond being a veteran yourself, you have a very special personal connection to the programs.
Yeah, I had the honor to serve 27 years in the Air Force, which was my lifelong dream as a kid. Mm-hmm. My dad was World War II. My three older brothers served in Vietnam. And then, I always wanted to be a pilot. That was my dream. And thankfully that came true. And so 27 years of service, about 24 years into that, my wife was diagnosed with cancer. When I was on a deployment, she started feeling bad. And then when I came home, the diagnosis came, and then which started about a 4.5 year journey of where I lost her. But like Donna, it's a gift. The grief was a gift. I mean, that process of going through that, to be a caregiver and to love her the way, I think I was meant to love her, was meaningful to me, because it took me from an environment where, as a fighter pilot, it was a very, it's a very kind of a macho kind of world where it's about you and what you can do.
Right. And
then to run into this challenge of cancer and find out that, you can't really do this. Mm-hmm. Like, it's beyond you. And to have that humbling experience for me kind of really changed me of who I was and how I look at life. And so she ended up passing. I, like Donna, was blessed to remarry. I remarried a widow who had lost her husband in the war. He was an F-16 pilot. Mm-hmm. So someday when we're in heaven, we will argue the F-15, F-16 debate. But while I'm here, it's the F-15 is the better plane.
She's not around. And she was on the podcast, Ginger. So we did have her. Yep, she was here. She shared her story. Yep.
So we remarried.
You were the husband she spoke much about.
Okay. Yeah. So we married. I had 2 older kids, and she had 5 younger. So we joined together, and those kids, the very first year, when I met them, they had just gone to Snowball. Mm-hmm. So that was their first interaction. So they interacted. Ginger had met Gary in 2005. And wow. And that's in her podcast, that story. But but the kids had gone to Snowball the first year Gary went. And so I'm blessed to have our kids who have been recipients of the foundation through Snowball and what it's meant to them. Mm-hmm. So it personalizes the mission for me. Yeah. And then it drives me to try to want to help other families. Yeah. I mean, Ginger and I wrote a book called Hope Found, and I think hope is what you have to have in life. Other than oxygen, I say you can't live without hope. And the story I think of that is I read this once. It was a submarine in the very early summers, a 4th submarine, and it had gone down in a training accident off the East Coast, and it had sunk. And it was the first time I think we had a submarine, and a Coast Guard cutter had seen it and was going over, and they sent a diver down. And when they went down, they heard there was men alive in the submarine, and they were tapping Morse code on the submarine hull. And the only thing they asked was, is there any hope? And when I read that story, I went, that's what That's so important, and that's what we do, and that's what Gary did, and that's what we get to continue on as a foundation, is to answer that question. There is hope, and don't give up. And so we help, through Gary's mission. I mean, he started after 30 years of serving before he started the foundation. So there's a long history of Gary's life of serving. And so the foundation has a very broad mission. So we help our severely wounded. We help first responders. We help families of fallen. We help veterans from all conflicts. We help those that struggle with the invisible wounds of their service. And we help their families, which is important because having been in the military, I know my wife, the kids, they all serve, whether you're a first responder or however you're serving. You didn't raise your right hand. My wife never raised her right hand. Ginger didn't raise her right hand, but they served and they sacrificed. So we help the families as well, which I love. It's important to me. And I love that Gary picked that up on his mission.
So Jim and team, the essence of our work at the Gary Sinise Foundation is, as you were mentioning, who we serve and how we serve. And on this podcast, we've highlighted certain programs in some of the episodes, but let's talk about our core programs.
Yeah, well, one of them, I'll just jump in, is our RISE program. Gary started the foundation with this program, and the acronym stands for Restoring Independence, Supporting Empowerment. So we have 4 pillars to that program, which is incredible. And it's something that I think resonates with everybody in this country because home is where the heart is.
Yeah.
And we have our largest component of that, which is what we call SASH, Specially Adapted Smart Homes. And this is built for our most severely wounded men and women who have served, and it gives them the opportunity to get into these beautiful homes that are custom built for their needs. And as we know, when they're in wheelchairs and they're crutching and they have multiple amputations, life is not the same when you go back to your home after injury. And I think Gary recognized that right away. And when you look at Gary's origin stories of how all that started, he saw the incredible beauty of that. And so that's why he started it. And of course, here we are after all these years with 101 homes and continuing on, and it's really exciting. But then we also do home modifications, which are beautiful, right? So these are for individuals who have a really good home, but they want to modify it, need a ramp, grab bar, extended hallways for wheelchair support, wider hallways. We do adapted vehicles, right, to help people with especially adapted needs as it relates to restoring that independence, right? So it gives them the ability with hand controls now to ramp into their van, drive their kids to school, go to Home Depot, grab their tools, et cetera. So again, trying to give them that sense of vibrancy again so they can go out and just live a vibrant life. And then the fourth component of that is what we do with the mobility devices, right? It gives them the ability to move around freely and a lot more kind of independent. So it's a really exciting program, but of course it's super, I think, recognized throughout the country as one of the kind of something that everybody can grab onto because we all have a house. We all recognize that's where family's built. That's where it's forged. And I think that's what's so, I think, special about that particular that gravitates to a lot of our corporate partners, but also individuals who are just like, that's where a lot of greatness happens.
And Gib, you actually joined the foundation in a different way.
I did. So I was working at GE, and GE was one of the first few corporate partners of the foundation, unbeknownst to me. I was hosting my own event at GE Aerospace at the time, and I needed a keynote speaker. And all the roads led me to this incredible human being, Gary Sinise. And the next thing you know, I'm in the office in California, we're meeting, and he had me at hello. And I say that in all seriousness. I know it's a cliche, but it's so true. It's true. And I was awestruck of the guy's composure, but it's also just his humility, his servant leadership. And instantly came out to me, because you're walking in, I'm meeting a Hollywood legend, and I really didn't know all the ins and outs of the foundation. It was just a phenomenal moment. 20 minutes in of a 30-minute meeting, knowing I'm going to get kicked out, he goes, "You want to go see something?" I said, "Sure." And he goes, "Let's go to my office." And I'm like, wow, I'm going to have the shortest office tour in history. And so we walked down, and an hour and a half later, I walk out of his office a changed human being. And I mean that in all seriousness. He had me, and I walked out of that, got in the elevator literally and yelled out by myself. Thankfully, nobody was there. And I said, "I'm going to help this man." I didn't even know what that meant. So I volunteered immediately. I roped my wife in, Kimberly. I brought my kids. Bosworth kids were coming to the ISF in San Diego. We're serving, having fun. And I'm like, I'm in. I am all in. And so as time went on, got more active, and then Gary asked me to join the advisory council and board, which I did. Happy to do that. More volunteer opportunity, help kind of work with the GE relationship to help support the RISE program, because we were providing in-kind appliances and lighting, et cetera, which is beautiful. And then eventually I sunsetted my career, and of course Gary and I were talking, and he goes, so you ready to go, Bosworth, full time? And I said, yes sir, let's go. And it's been full afterburner ever since, and it's been like an incredible journey. But what touched me most about him is his unbelievable mindset about serving those who have served us.
Yep.
That rocked me to my core, because I too have military in my family. Gib 1, my grandfather, served in World War II in the Army. He was severely damaged. He had PTS and I'm sure TBI, but of course they didn't know what that meant. He struggled with it. He struggled with, all kinds of things. Both my uncles served in Vietnam, and they were in Air Force and Army. And I spoken to my uncle, who recently met Gary in Arizona, and he has started to open up to me about how this relationship that I have been a part of has helped him start to process some of the trauma that he's been navigating from his experience in Vietnam. And to know that Gary's, his example, his beautiful life story, but his servant over self mindset has just resonated with so many people, including my own family and with me. And it's given me a new renewed purpose, because I can see the power of this. I call it the movement. Gary's created the movement in a beautiful way, and we all get to see it every single day in everything we're doing. And it's life-changing, because it gives, as Jim, you were saying, gives everybody hope, but it also gives something to rally around, which is one of Gary's call to action. People are like excited, what else can we do? And they all tell us, right, we all hear this, you get the best job in the world. They're right. What an honor. It is an honor. It is an honor. I love doing this. It's incredible. But yeah, who knew 11 and a half years ago, I'd be sitting here today having this conversation with all of you in Gary's house.
Yep.
Here we are.
Yep.
It's a cool thing.
I love it. And of course, everything we do is possible because of our incredible donors. So Sarah, I want to ask you, what makes our donors so unique?
Like Donna, I've spent my career with nonprofits in the philanthropy arena. So healthcare, higher education, children's services. In my focus, my dad says, I don't understand what you do. What do? You go to lunch with somebody, they write you a check. I'm like, no. I'm a matchmaker. I find people that have a passion for what we're trying to accomplish. And so my focus has always been on the donors. Here, it's like fast forward, because they know Gary. They feel they know Gary. They trust Gary. They have the passion for what we're doing. And so it's just lights out. And because Gary does not say no, we've got so many different options for them to be able to plug in and really feel connected to what we are trying to accomplish here. So it's beautiful. My career has been focused on donors, but here I get to get my toe in the water with our recipients and the people we serve. And that fills my cup so much in so many different ways. Whether it's, a triple amputee or a child that's lost their dad, or an aging veteran that's not been asked his story. I want to hear that story, and they want to tell it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They really do, and they need to. So that's what sets our donors apart here, in my opinion, is the trust factor. And then we carry through on what we say we're going to do, and then just we're all here to follow Gary's lead.
Yep.
And we can't do it alone. Gary couldn't do it alone, and he recognized that, and so he started this foundation 15 years ago. None of us can do this alone. It's the American people and the generosity that they day in and day out exhibit to us and trust us to carry out. So it's very humbling. I'm very humbled.
I love that. Barbara.
Yes.
You served on the board of directors.
Yes.
In the beginning.
That was such an incredible honor. I had been volunteering for a number of years, and I just, I was bringing national associations and national organizations to the foundation to assist with the RISE program, helping to build this corporate partnership so that hardwood flooring could get donated, and granite countertops and exterior stone and roof sheathing, all those things which allowed us to minimize the outlay of cash so that we can build more homes for
Love
more
it.
recipients. And there's always such a need. And you know, I said I worked in the hardwood industry, and I got to take those loyal, patriotic people and marry them with the people that serve this country. And so I have the best of both worlds, truly. But serving on the board of directors was a little intimidating. We have a very fabulous board, very expansive, business-minded people, military professionals, people that have served in combat zones, and you know, I felt very small next to them. But you know, as the years went by, we started to see a need to have somebody oversee the business aspects, because despite that this is a nonprofit, it's a business. And with my 31 years of business experience in law firms, and also you know, performing accounting functions and auditing functions, you know, I was asked if perhaps I'd be willing to step off the board and join the team. And by then I had gotten to meet all of the people that are on our staff, and they all have their own story, and they're all so committed to this mission. And I immediately said yes, I'd be more than willing to do that. And it has been, you know, the biggest thing about a nonprofit is to ensure that we have the trust and transparency, that our donors feel safe in sharing their treasures and their time with us. And so, you know, each year we're audited from an external accounting firm. It's a rigorous audit. They go through and look at everything. But my view is that they're partners with us, and we want to be as transparent and as accountable as we can be, and we want to visually be able to show to our donors that we are being good stewards of their money, and that and is evidenced by what Sarah says, they are able to connect and see the results of that sharing.
So basically, now you're ensuring that every donor dollar is stewarded with integrity.
I absolutely am. We have built out a fabulous finance team, and that is our primary focus, to ensure that those funds are being utilized to the ultimate purpose. And you know, whether they're directed by the donor themselves, or if they come in for general purposes, so that we can utilize them in any manner where we have a need to do the RISE homes, to do the mobility vehicles, to any of the needs that we face.
Yeah. And it's up to the Gary standard.
Yes.
And that standard is high.
It is.
Very high.
And he has given us an opportunity to, with his reputation,
Yep.
he's opened that door for us, and it's our duty and our responsibility to ensure that his reputation and his legacy is stellar. And we all strive to do that.
Absolutely.
Love it. All right, so we talked the nuts and bolts. We're going to shift, and we're going to talk about heart. So we've all been deeply affected by the programs that we lead. And I know each of us has many stories that we've collected over the years. So let's share about that. So I'll start with you, Donna.
I'd just like to also say, when I stepped into this role, Gary said to me, you know, I don't want to ever lose the family feel. You have to make sure the culture represents me. And I took that so seriously. And I'm happy to say that that's exactly the culture we have. We are a family.
Yep.
I personally got to experience it, as I mentioned earlier. But this incredible team, it's just a shame we don't like each other. You know, I mean,
We work hard to make it work.
we love each other. And what I love about this team is the heart that each one of them brings to this mission, and how any one of us would step in to help and catch the other. And that's exactly the kind of culture Gary wanted us
That's
to have.
Gary.
And I think that's what sets this organization apart from so many out there. Because Gary's our North Star, and his big, beautiful heart, and that's what we all strive to do.
Yep.
And so with that, I'll transition into one of my favorite stories is actually being at Disney in December. And the first year after I lost my husband, it had only been 7 months. And I was supposed to be talking to the families of our fallen about grief and loss and being there. And I'll never forget being at Disney and being up in front of all of them, trying to be strong, finding everything. And I thanks to you, Jim, and you, Cristin, who were there with me that morning, I couldn't have done it without you all. But I was able to do my part, and I was determined to not cry because I didn't want to make it about me. It was about them. And so I made it through, and I think I did a good job and went to the park and was with some of the families, and then the grief just overwhelmed me, and I had a moment, and I was off to a corner, and I just completely fell apart. And one of the families was watching this, and they must have asked someone, like, what's wrong with her? Is she okay? This mom. And she came over to me. She came over to me and hugged me and said, I know what happened. I know this is new for you. And I just want you to know that you're going to be fine. You're strong. You're going to do this. And here is this beautiful woman that I'm supposed to be serving that's serving me. And that just, I will never forget that as long as I live. That was such a beautiful moment of a complete reciprocity, that we're there offering her this experience at Disney for her to heal. And then she's giving that back to me in my moment of just complete sorrow. And I just, to this day, I can barely talk about this without crying. I'm trying to maintain my composure here. But that will always be burned into my memory.
I have a favorite memory. I participated in a lot of the RISE projects initially, and I remember being in Pennsylvania with Major Eric Burkett, and he was sharing with me, the years of surgeries and revisions and just trying to adapt to this new life with 5 children, and his wife was a Marine, and I was so emotional that he had endured all this in his service to our country and to protect us. And I told him, it seems so little for me to say to you, thank you for your service, but I mean that. And he took me by the shoulders and he said, you're worth it. And I vowed that day that I was going to serve in a capacity that I would always be someone that would be worth what our men and women are sacrificing for. And it was a challenge, and it's embedded in my soul, truly.
I'm going to tack onto that, because I mentioned how humbling this role has brought so much to my life, but to bear too. My great-grandfather was a colonel in the Army in Korea and in World War II. He died 5 years before I was born. I never knew him, but he was a large part of my mom's life. So many, many stories. And as long as the stories are told, the person's still living. Yep. So all I had to go on was that. I got to go along with the Soaring Valor trip to World War II Museum. And that in alone, was life-changing. But we were sitting at breakfast. It might have been like the second or third day. And each of these World War II vets were paired with a high school student, 16, 17, years old. We're sitting at the table, and it dawned on me, these kids were the same age as my great-grandfather, or this veteran right here in front of me, when he enlisted and made this choice to go and sacrifice and change the trajectory of their lives. And so it just put my fork down and just took it all in, because I too have teenage boys. And I don't know that they would have the same, wherewithal to do that. I'd hope so. But, it just was humbling. Oh, yeah. And it really shook me and made me so grateful for the foresight that these teenagers had to go and serve our country. And they still do every day.
They save the
every
world.
Day.
Yeah.
Yep. Mine's Soaring Valor as well.
Oh.
I'm gonna have a lot. I mean, snowball.
Yeah, there's so many. I know.
Donna.
It's hard to cull it down.
It's like, how do you pick the top? That, but there's always the ones that kind of resonate.
Yeah, Donna's story that year, for us to stand there as a widow and a widower.
I know I know.
It was a powerful moment relationally for us, and about this mission, which I feel it's always about relationship. Gary is so personal, so I think that's what's reflected in what we do. The culture we try to keep is that we're relational to the people we help, not transactional.
Yep.
And so I was at the World War II Museum, which of course I'm a history buff and I love World War II. My dad served, here's my funny story. I collect World War II medals, and I had got some Russian medals, a couple pins that I'd bought in Bulgaria after the walls fell. And so I was at the museum, and there's a World War II veteran there, and he's got his hat with his pins on it like they always do, and he has one of the pins that I have. And I was like, oh, wow. I was just talking to him, I go, I have that pin. Where did you get yours? It was a Russian medal, a Russian soldier thing. I said, oh, where did you get yours? He goes, from a Russian. I was like, oh my, you're right.
You're like
you did this.
Oh my God, he lived it, yeah.
He said, yes, we went into Berlin and I exchanged pins with this Russian soldier. He said, funny thing, that day, we had no ammo in our guns. When we went in, they took all our ammo away because they're afraid of something happened between the countries. So he said we were there with our M1s, but no ammo. But that moment was just, because it hit me like,
how humbling,
you were with people, you were in a museum of people who did this, and then right after that, a gentleman's walking by and they're showing, it's by the display of the Battle of the Bulge, and he looks at that and he goes, when that picture was taken, he said the date in February or something. I go, no. He goes, I know, because you see those socks in that picture. I remember when we got those socks, like they delivered socks, and I was like it's so powerful to watch that, and you watch the students interact with these veterans.
Oh yeah.
And at the end of that trip, the students, 18-year-olds, high school students, are crying saying goodbye to these veterans. And that's the genius of Gary's vision, to put those students together. Like, no one had that idea, but Gary had that idea to go, let's take students and teach them about what this generation did. And to watch that in person was the most powerful thing I saw. Yeah.
And I think for me, again, how do we cull this down to one? There's like dozens, but I think one that just incredibly stands out to me is 9/11. I remember talking with Gary about this, and about what it means to our country, which is also, he calls it turning point.
Oh yeah.
In his world, his book, and his life, which is big part of what we do here. And it resonates very much with me. I remember where we all do, what happened, what was the aftermath. And the beauty that came out of that tragedy was our country coming together. And we need to remind ourselves of that. And so Gary, being Gary, recognizing this is a rallying point, he goes, I'm going to create an education program that brings high school students to the 3 9/11 sites. So the Gary Sinise Foundation is leading the way with innovation, and we're taking students. And so the very first time I was able to go on the very first trip with some of our teammates, and we brought students, and it changed my life. When we went to Ground Zero, the 9/11 Museum, an incredible day, so much emotion. But watching the students and their response to the reflecting pool at the beginning, all the way to walking through and seeing the crushed, fire engines and all the different debris, and listening to the voices and the calls, it's overwhelming, right? And I was reliving that trauma myself, and while I'm watching these young people who weren't even alive, watching all this, and I was just like, and we had Danny Prince, who's one of our unbelievable friends. He's an ambassador here at the foundation. He was also FDNY. And Danny was there, and I remember talking with Danny, and he was sharing his experience because he worked on the cleanup on the pile and talked about what it was like, and he was there, and sharing that testimony with these students, and just watching their reaction was priceless. It gave me so much hope, because I could see, you could have heard a pin drop. There was nobody looking at phones. They were so dialed into this conversation with Danny and just watching and listening to what they had just seen and heard. And then we walked right over after all of this to Ladder 10, Engine 10, the fire station that is located right at Ground Zero, which still stands strong to this day. Go FDNY. And we served them food as a part of Gary's Serving Hero program, which we just said thank you. And what was the most blow away for me out of that whole, if it could get any better, these students wrote letters to the FDNY, and they read it out loud right there. Here we are, downtown Manhattan, Ground Zero, and these high school kids who weren't alive are sharing what this meant to them, with these firefighters, real time. It was just a moment of like, is this really happening right now? It was the most beautiful moment. There's so many, but this one in particular really got me, especially as we think this year with the 25th anniversary. It's just so important that the next generation understands the sacrifices that have gone into keeping our country strong. And I'm just so glad that we're able to be a part of that, along with taking these kids to Shanksville, along with the Pentagon. So, but that trip to New York, I will never forget it.
I love it.
And what's your favorite?
Mine. I have such a collection. As you guys are sharing, I'm thinking about like our Invincible Spirit festivals, and the concerts and with the wounded and seeing Guillermo Tejada, wheeled out in his, hospital bed, and like the smile, I can like see in my mind's eye, like his huge smile on his face. But there's this one that was actually at a speaking event with Gary, and it was utter chaos, and he's got responsibilities to during a meet and greet and to meet. And so there's this long, huge line it is. And we're in the middle of a convention. So you can imagine how loud it is and how chaos, and there's security, there's the photographer, everybody's yelling, okay, next over here, okay, next. And people are screaming in the back, like getting photos and look over here, and cell phones are flying in the air. It is like absolute insanity. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, like this is, how are we ever gonna get out of here? But it's a lot. And they're going through the line, and this woman is kind of like, it looks like she's kind of being herded in the line a little. She's just kind of meandering her way in, and she looks disheveled and a bit just sad. You could see she was carrying something, and she just gets right next to him and kind of looks at him, and then just looks at the camera, and she doesn't smile. And they take the photo, and she turns to him, and you can see that she says something, but you don't know you can't hear, it's just chaos. And Gary, he's like looking at her, and it's like, he's understanding what she's saying, but he can't quite, it's like, it's so loud, he can't quite get it. And so he's kind of looking at her, and then she just walks off, and she just walks into the crowds. Like, it's not just one crowd, it's like masses. And he stops, and he's still staring kind of where she was standing there. And then they're like, okay, next, and the next person's getting pushed in, and they're like, hi, and they kind of stand next to him. And the next thing you know is Gary bolts. He just runs. So security's screaming, photographer's like, what's happening? I'm like, and running after him and thinking like, what is he doing? And he bolts, and I don't know how it's God sent, how he found her. I don't know how in the crowd, how he found her, how that trajectory worked out, but he beelined and found her, directly found her, and just kind of takes her by the shoulders and is saying something to her, and she just crumbles and hugs him, and he hugs her, and she had just lost her husband the week prior. He was a first responder, and they have little kids, and he just had to hug her, and let her know that we don't forget about your hero, we don't forget about you. And we shared, we exchanged information, and then they were accepted into the Snowball program later that year. And so we were able to love on them and just remind them that, they matter. But I just remember thinking, here is this moment with absolute and utter chaos, and there's so many responsibilities, but the always do a little more, that's just ingrained in him, and he just didn't care, Yeah. The work is there, but this is the mission. That's the difference, and the mission always is priority. And he just, it doesn't matter how much he has to do, how many responsibilities and stuff, right. It's the mission is at the core of it. And that was just one of those moments where I just remember watching it and afterwards thinking, I'm just being, just like you said, again, forever changed, and just, and it sticks with me. It's the thing that sticks in my head. So.
And I think we've all seen him do that, right?
Yes. Right.
It's like he has the incredible ability to just stop time.
Yes.
Everything's moving, and he'll just stop and focus on that one person, and he makes you feel like there's nobody else there.
Yeah, so true.
And I'm like you. I've been with, and it's I'm like, wait, but no, not Gary. He's just beeline focused on the person in need at that moment. Yeah. It's amazing.
I call it a superpower.
It is. It is a superpower.
It is. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This is a big year. GSF 15th anniversary, big year, you know, and that's a lot of lives changed over the years.
I mean, if you think about some of our programmatic activity, what Gary started, you know, feeding people, we've done like 1.2 million meals worldwide, and continuing. We've built 101 homes. We've got a bunch more in the pipeline. We've dedicated countless vehicles, countless mobility devices. That's incredible, and it's just growing exponentially to see as a part of this incredible movement that he has created. To watch it's stunning to see it happen. It really is. It's inspiring on so many levels. And everybody wants to keep helping us, so it's great.
Yep.
I mean, the power of one person seeing a need and doing something about it. And now 15 years later, we get to look back at all these incredible things that have happened.
Yeah. When I think of the one, you know, the 15 years and the culmination of what's happened, I think of the picture in our office in the hallway when you first walk in, and it's from 9/11. I don't know who took the picture, Gary. It's a grainy, I don't know, maybe off a camera or something. It's not a photographer, but it's at a memorial after 9/11 with him standing up, holding a flag, and everybody's sitting. And to me, that was the one, right? And I think if we took that picture now, and actually of everybody who's joined that, of all our donors, of all our recipients, what would that picture look like? There's tens of thousands of people standing. And that's the power of what Gary did. He just said, I'm gonna do something. And the simple thing he did, the first thing is, I'm just gonna stand up. I'm gonna stand up, and this is just a statement, I'm gonna stand up. No one was standing. And I think he just takes action. He just goes, I see there's a need, I wanna do something. And he goes out and does it. And then it just grew into this. And now I think the 6 of us here who represent all the staff, we are all utterly amazed at the growth of what's happened from that one moment when one person said, I'm going to do something. And I think as he went through those 30 years prior to the foundation and saw the need and the sacrifice that was made, it was overwhelming. And one person can do a lot. And one person can do a lot who has a platform. But a nation that understands that's when you can make a difference. And that's the backside goal of the foundation to me, and our education is to get the American people to understand what's being done for them every day. And right now, as we sit here and we're in a conflict, what better time? Like, we realize there are people out there putting their lives on the line, and sadly, some families have paid the ultimate price recently. But that goes on every day. From our first responders that keep us safe at home, from our military around the world. And Gary said, I just want to do something, and I want to rally a nation to understand that. And so the education is to take the kids to teach them, but it's also the American public to go, do you see the people in your community that are sacrificing for you? Just stand up. Just do something.
And that's what I love. Support them. Stand up.
Yes,
that's what I love about
Gary. Be part of the solution.
Yes.
Truly.
And those needs are not going away.
No.
Never.
No.
And as this organization grows and evolves, this real-time evolution right here, like none of us is doing the exact job we were hired to do 4, 5, 10 years ago. Like, we are evolving and growing, and it's a living organism, and it's been beautiful to be able to shape that. But it's so necessary because the need's never going to go away, unfortunately, and we can't do it alone. We need everybody to help.
I mean, the other thing, and I think this is so important, and I think most people are seeing this now, he leads by example.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
He leads by example like nobody I know. He is a unicorn of a human being. We all know this, right? Because we see him, and he is the most engaged founder I've ever seen in my life. And I've known a lot of big companies.
Have you met him?
Yeah, have we met him?
I'm like, yeah. Is he involved? Is he involved? I'm like, yeah.
He's got us on speed dial.
I was like,
He's
Speed
involved,
dial, text, say, how you doing?
5 a.m. texts or
Oh yeah, he's
Thank
the
you,
first
Gary.
one up and the
Thank you,
last one sleeping. Yeah, no,
Yes.
no doubt.
No, but I love that about him because
he's passionate.
that's what it's all about, is leading by example and showing us what good looks like, so we can follow that and then cascade that to everybody else and say, hey, come with us, lock arms with us, let's go make some great things happen.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, speaking of 15th anniversary, can you share about the legacy of the foundation?
Gary and all of us really want this to be around for a very long time. And what one person started has grown into a movement. And the needs are never going away.
Yep.
Right.
And so what's beautiful, and what we pay so much attention to is that we want this to continue. Gary wants this to continue for many, 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 many years, because the needs are not going to go away. And to bring the heart and the soul to the service that we provide, and that will never change. And Gary's putting a lot of things in place right now. All of us have that. We want to make sure that goes on way beyond him, way beyond us. So we have a lot of conversations about what this looks like 10, 20, 30, 50 years from now. We're always talking about that, because we never want to lose what makes this place magical. And we won't, because Gary has shown us the way. And then all of us have learned it. We are that for him. And we will be training the people younger than us, and it will just continue. But that's what makes this organization different from a lot of others, is the way we show up every day to do this work. Because Gary, that's how he is, and he wants to make sure we all represent him. And the people who serve us, they deserve that.
Right.
They're not just numbers. These are people. These are stories. These are. This is their lives. And we don't forget that. And our goal is to make sure that the people who are working here 30 years from now don't forget that either.
Do each of you have a memory or something that people would be surprised about working with Gary?
Well, I have a memory that's right on my phone of him in my office when I was back in Ohio, with his feet propped up on my desk, relaxing, like that's how I run my business every day.
You know what? I took that picture. He was so funny. He had that sparkle in his eye. He goes, "Come here." And I was like, "Okay." And so he goes, "Here, take this picture." And he puts his feet up and I sent it to Barbara. It was so funny.
Yep. I said, that's my favorite moment with Gary. I love it.
His sense of humor.
I know.
I mean, we could be in the most serious situation, dealing with most serious things, and then he'll crack a joke or just his time. Of course, his timing is incredible.
Impeccable.
And it's such a great stress relief too. I love that about working with Gary. Yeah.
Cristin, to your point, people ask, do you know him? Does he ever come around? Yes. But, personally, I lost my mom recently, suddenly. And the day of her memorial, he texted me. Like, he didn't have to do, I didn't even know he knew. But, on a very personal level, yes, I know him. I'm so grateful to know him. And he knows me.
Yep.
You can't say that about every place you work or organization you serve. But that's Gary.
That is.
It's the heart of him.
I was going to jump in here, but so when we have an incredible Lieutenant Dan van that this one right here helped create 7 different versions later. I get to drive the best vehicle in town because I get all the good hand gestures on the freeway. Well, as a part of
hilarious.
that, and as a part of that, our infamous friend and leader Gary, when we were transitioning to here in Tennessee from California, being in California, he recruited me, and said, "Hey, we're going to take some stuff from the old office. I need you to bring it to my house so we can take it and transfer it." Okay, so I show up to the office thinking, all right, I'm going to load this pretty much by myself. And lo and behold, Gary's there, and he's got shorts on, and he's got mandals on. And I'm like, there's a look I haven't seen in a while. And I'm like, all right, he's ready to get some work done. And lo and behold, he helped me. We were schlepping shelves and other items and we're loading up the Lieutenant Dan van to go to his house. And we were just laughing and talking and loading up the carts and just like 2 guys working. And it was like a moment. I was like, and I took photos. I have evidence, which of course, and then we had a little Perrier in the office as a celebration that, all right, the work is done. We had a good day, let's go. And off we went. But it was like, I did not expect that little experience right there.
He was ready. He could get down to work.
Again, leading by example. I'm like, here he is. He didn't have to do that. But he's like, all right, Gib, let's go. We're going to get this thing done. I need to do something. And he's mindful of that to go, hey, look, we've got some great, office items. Let's transfer them to Tennessee. I'm moving. We'll get this stuff loaded and we'll just put it to my house. And off we go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here I am. I'm working with Lieutenant Dan and the Lieutenant Dan van.
There you go.
And we're moving furniture. It doesn't get any better than this.
That's kind of what inspired me to want to be a part of and work with him, was when I met him the first. It may have been 2008. And
Oh, he'll remember.
I was still active duty. Ginger, had met Gary, and we were at a dinner at the band had come around to do a concert at an ISF in Santa, and we went to dinner, and he was there, and he was sitting next to me, and he was talking about how tired he was, and I go, what's life like? He goes, well, I film he's doing CSI New York, and he goes, I film Monday through Thursday, and then my agreement is on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I go with the band and I go out and do what he does.
Yep.
And thank people and thank the troops and stuff. And he goes, I've been doing this for I don't know how many years, like 3 or 4 years. He's working, shooting Monday through Thursday and then touring. And I was like, Gary, that's a lot. Like, how are you doing that? Yeah. He goes, this is what I'm called to do, kind of a thing. And then I go back later, like 3 years later, and he goes, yeah, I was really tired. I go, yeah, I know, I remember that. He goes, I quit that. I was so tired. And I go, yeah. He goes, but I'm thinking about I got this offer for this Criminal Minds, another show. He goes, I think I'm going to do it. And I said, Gary, do you remember last time we talked? He goes, yeah, but do you know what I could do? Mm-hmm. Do you know how much more I could do if I did that show? Mm-hmm. And I was like, gosh, that's
his heart.
Yeah.
That's his heart.
Yeah, he uses his platform to help people.
He does.
He doesn't use his platform for himself. And to even take on that workload, which his family, that's a big cost for the family for him to commit to that. But I was like, oh my gosh, if I could ever work for him. Like, that's a man with integrity.
Yes, indeed.
And then, thank the Lord, it happened.
Yeah.
But that was, to me, it wasn't a funny moment. It was a powerful moment for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
And he is so humble. And people ask me all the time, like, what's he like? I'm like, well, in a funny way, it's he's wearing the same shoes he wore when he was on CSI New York.
Yes.
That stuff doesn't matter to him.
Right.
And I remember the day he walked in and he said, oh yeah, Sophie got me some new shoes. Because we were all commenting on his shoes. Because they looked so good. They were so like hip, you know? So he goes,
Way to go, Gary.
I know. And I love that stuff does not matter to him.
It doesn't.
Right.
No.
But
So
he will
true.
chase that woman through the audience.
Yes.
He will
Yes.
put
Right.
himself out there to have the resources to do more
Yeah.
for these incredible defenders.
Yeah.
And he has his priorities straight. And I am so proud to work for a man that has his priorities so straight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember it was like, what car did Gary drive? That was, and it was a Ford Flex. God love you, Gary. And I was like, you're driving a Ford Flex? Like, that to me was so funny. Like, that's like the shoes. I'm like, wow, okay, you could drive anything. Yeah.
He loves it.
Yeah,
but
He's very practical.
He's very
practical individual.
About yes. But very serious about
Very serious about his
Mission.
mission.
Yes, he is.
Oh yeah, it's at the core and at the heart of him.
100%.
And,
yeah. That infused into all of us and the staff.
Absolutely.
I have so many of like the ones that I often like weep at night or after an event and in my room just thinking about seeing it's him behind the scenes. Him behind the scenes where there's no cameras, there's no Kip, there's no. It's just him on the mission. I think that there's two things about him that are, it's his memory.
Yeah.
He doesn't just remember like the person's name, but he'll ask about their spouse or ask about their kids. I remember early on being his executive assistant, and I'd be like, wait, who are these people? And he would be the one, this is Medal of Honor recipient. He'd give me like their name and everything. And I remember at the end of the event being like, I need to be better at this. Like, how does he do it? But it's just, it means so much to him. Just like you said, like this means so much to him that it's personal. And these people, like it's personal. They're not just faces in a crowd. They are like people and their stories, and it means so much to him. And but as much as he's doing so much, and it's not doing a little more, it's doing a lot more. The balance side of him too, he can sleep anywhere.
Oh, really?
Tell us more.
I have a collection of selfies where I'm like,
Oh, no.
I told him I have like a compile of just like, I'll be like drinking a drink and he's like sleeping with like his coat over him or who knows what. And it's just me like, okay, it's like, it doesn't matter. plane, train, automobile, like floor, you know, anything. He can sleep on a dime. I don't know how he does it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you close the trailer door at a Lieutenant Dan Band concert and gone. He'll just rise. 20 minutes later, I'm like, how did you sleep? And he can do it. Like just like he's kind of like a Marine in that way. Like we're built like that. You need to catch that sleep where you can. And he has learned over the time.
So has he seen these photos?
No, he's not.
So Gary, there's an opportunity.
Wait, he knows.
There's a follow-up. There's a follow-up after this.
He knows they exist recently. And he was like, what? He did his, oh dear.
Oh dear.
That's his favorite expression.
Yes. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
That's a Gary line.
Yep. So that's with them. This will be secret. They'll stick with me. But okay, everyone. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and coming out of your comfort zones a little bit and sharing so much. And just, you know, Gary's the heart of the mission, but it takes each and every one of you to ensure that this is, you know, that this is moving forward and impacting so many lives, and that the donors are appreciated and thanked, and that their generosity is going to the recipients in just the way that we should. So you're so passionate about the mission, and that's really what brings joy, you know, and that's, thank you. Thank you so much for that. And as we do with every podcast episode, Mac will close out the show.
You've been listening to GSF Podcast, the official podcast of the Gary Sinise Foundation. If you'd like to find out more about what the foundation is up to, or if you'd like to make a donation, please visit GarySiniseFoundation.org. Make sure to tune in next time for more interviews, and thanks for joining us.